Okay, I have a new toy here. Have to try it out. Haven't used this one before. All right, I'm on a roll. Now, it's been raining again, and my internet being what it is when it rains, I'm already 3 videos ahead of you guys. And I even have another journal that isn't recorded. Don't know if or when it will be. But I'm having fun with this unplugged thing. Source just tricked me in the last one I did. It's really neat. I'll tell you about it when I record that one. But this is the second one for today. And it's May Day, May 1st. And the Mayan day is, let me think, I don't usually do this on a live video, to light, Lord, light, or sun, even though there's none of that to be seen right now. Okay, so what's going on? What's going on is I'm looking into the motivation of the various other beings, ETs, extraterrestrial, whether they're extra dimensional, whether they're us from the future, whatever they are. I'm looking at what's behind what they have to offer, because most of this channeled stuff is not good. It really isn't. And I've looked a good bit more into Tom Kenyon and the Hathors, and they're okay, but it's still channeled, and so you have to be cautious. I don't care who it is. I don't care how nice or wonderful they seem. What I've discovered so far is, and I've gotten bitten a time or two, kind of got my hand smacked energetically. And I don't mean by something outside of myself. I just mean in the lessons that I've learned. And that is to watch out for the self, looking outside of the self for something to bless or to rescue, to be less than so that it can be more than, that kind of thing. Looking up to something outside of the self. Now, I have found that to be not good. All right? And whenever I let myself do that, well, you get into kind of a subservient energy. And it can be subtle. But looking up to anything outside of the self, I have found personally is a no-no. So, somebody asked me about Bashar. Again, there are channelers and beings that they channel that I haven't looked at what they're saying, and I don't really feel a great deal of negativity, but I also don't trust. I just don't. They might be wonderful. That's for each heart to decide. See, we've all got to decide this for ourselves, because if you're really drawn by your heart to follow someone or something, then you need to do it. You need to trust your head less and your heart more, and just do it. Okay? And that doesn't necessarily mean that that's a being of great light or that everything they say is truthful or anything like that. If your heart's leading you to do it, you just trust your heart and do it, and stick with heart, and you'll learn along the way what the good of that is, because there can even be good if you follow someone who turns out not to be good in the end. Now, a case in point, not really. This is different, but similar. I don't care for the how do I say this? I don't trust one bit the beings who channel through or with Laura Knight Jadzik, the Cassiopeians. It's my personal opinion that those beings are playing with her and, her husband and friends. And that's why I'm feeling kind of strange, because for some reason or another, Heart has been leading me to read through Laura's work on the wave. And it's some extensive reading, and it goes into some of the channeling and just a lot of stuff. You wind up, in half a dozen different documents, some of them long. And I keep asking Spirit. I see this and that again and again that tells me this is just BS. But for some reason, I was led to keep reading. So I did. And then I had a light bulb moment. Now, let me see if I can capture it, if this is the right way to do that. The thing that I'm seeing that's most important for all of these entities when it comes to their interaction with us is our free will. We really can't be interfered with on a certain level. Now, just stay in heart with this, okay? Let mind voice its objections, and you get back to that later. Just try to stick with me so that I can get this across. Let's just pretend that the non-interference thing, from Star Trek is real. And that whether they're good guys or bad guys, there's a rule that says you can't interfere. Okay, our free will is our treasure. Our free will and our emotions, the way I read things right now, are perhaps the biggest treasures that we have. And the thing that these aliens do, these entities do, the thing that I'm seeing in the Jadzik work, if I'm even saying that right, is that they, the entities, what do we call them? The ETs, Cassiopeians, have gotten Laura and crew to willingly accept certain things, such as simply by being in 3D, that means you and everyone here in 3D are service to self, not service to others. Well, I don't buy that. Also, that by taking the fall into 3D, that gave the Lizzies or the Orions, the reptilians, whatever you want to call the negative ones, that gave them our free will consent to do what they would with us. Now, believe it or not, that is actually what Laura has been convinced is the case by the Cassiopeians, or those who go under that name. Yeah. And I find that really stinky. I mean, to me, it's raunchy. Just the whole thing. So, and I apologize if you're following and you have a lot of loyalty and maybe more knowledge than I do and so on, because I have not studied this work extensively that Laura Jadzik does with these beings. But I don't like the energy of it. And it's rare for me, though, to be drawn to read something that I've already rejected the source of as being not pure and not truthful. And so it's like I was telling Source, I was telling higher self, well, what do I want to put my energy into this for? It's not good enough. And it was like, come on, there's something there for you. Keep reading. And so I did. And so it came clear for me that what they're doing is whatever they need to do to manipulate our free will. If they can get us convinced of things, if they can give us a belief and we accept it, that's how we use free will. And in effect, that's what gives our power away. That's what gives permissions for things that we really don't want. But based on the belief systems that we've adopted, we've let ourselves in for that. So that was my light bulb moment, such as it is. It's feeling very different. As I've said before, I've got mind of some sort coming back online because this is a kind of analysis, but it's going on in the heart. And so I can't answer for what it is. I mean, I can just present it. And so, as a part of unplugging, how is this that? Well, I think that we need to unplug from trusting any source outside of self. And right now what I'm looking at is the extraterrestrial ones. Now, as you know, if you've been with my journals a while, I like the work of Patricia Corey in particular. I just really feel a connection, and I really feel the beings have a great deal of light that she works with, the Syrian High Council, beings from Sirius. And I think Marciniak is pretty good. Now, Alex Collier's not a channeler, but through the work of Alex Collier, we encounter and learn what the Andromedans have to say. And so those have been the ones that, out of all the rest of them, I've kind of relied on. Now, I'll tell you truthfully, chances are I've relied on them too much, because what's happening with me now is that I'm withdrawing from all of it. And I'm recognizing more and more my own God self. This is God that we are, an atom in the body of God, if you will, of the ultimate source. Not the big kahuna, not that. But see, we haven't been told how things work very well at all. And with the little g, we're all creator gods and goddesses. We participate in that. We partake of it. We're like maybe God's finger that, and when Source is moving and flowing through us, that's the divine will that's acting there. And so it's a God by participation, perhaps. Let's not get lost in dogma or doctrine or words. Just try to go by the feel of what's here for you. So I'm in process then of unplugging from a lot of things. But in this instance, it's good to see behind some of the strategies, what's being done. And what got me off on this was looking at the Hathors and saying, what pony have they got in the race? What is their motivation for working with mankind? I'll probably step on a few toes here, but remember, this is all about unplugging. And I'll talk about, is it Abraham? He calls himself, I forget. It's a group of beings, and they come through this couple that's just really, really wonderful. it's bizarre, I've forgotten the name. That's like not being able to spell. But anyway, what turned me off of that channeling was the depth that those beings were willing to come down into the nuts and bolts of 3D functioning on teaching precipitation and manifestation and that kind of thing. I couldn't see it, and I still don't, and I don't trust because of it that there's a real transcendence that's offered there. Now again, everyone has to make their own determination. We're not singing the top 10 tunes here, you know. We're all going to have our own special song that we sing. And so we come from a very special perspective. There's no one out there. There's no one in cosmos anywhere that's got your exact history, that's lived all the lifetimes and had all the experiences that you have, that's worn the bodies, that's had the associations, that's learned the particular lessons, that's accomplished the particular things. You are unique. Your perspective is specific. No one else has it. And you majored in that. You're the authority for your own perspective. No one can tell you what's what when it comes to your perspective. You're the authority. And so in my life, I'm the authority. And in my life, I know what feels solid, what feels right. Now, sometimes maybe I can explain it. A lot of times, maybe I can't. But, you know, that's a mental thing, and I'm not too worried with it. I do the best I can here. And again, comment or question, and I'll answer you the best I can to try to make things more clear. Frankly, you know, I'm in territory I'm not used to being in. I'm dealing with things here that, frankly, smack of mind. And, you know, my song, get out of the mind, get into the heart. So there's some kind of integration, though, that's going on deeper inside myself that's involving mind in some way. And I don't understand it. So all I can promise is to be real with you. And so what I'm saying right now is that these beings, just because they're in a higher dimension, doesn't make them better than us. Just because they're in a higher dimension doesn't make them perfect. Everything that's in the created cosmos, on whatever dimension it's on, is still on a journey of its own, is still learning and growing and experiencing. It isn't the ultimate any more than you and I are. We're all that. Okay? So we don't need to take a subservient position to anything, anywhere. We don't need to be arrogant either. There's a real humility that permeates heart. And there's a real knowing that I can't explain this humility. It's just there. All right? There's not a lot that I do understand. But right now, I guess the bottom line is that I'm coming to see, watch for in all of the interactions, all of the channelings, all of those kind of things, watch for the impact of it on your free will. What are they getting you to accept and believe? And just be cautious, that's all. Maybe they're there doing what they're doing, divinely ordained to motivate and inspire you to rely more on yourself. You know, our higher self is God. We have that right within. We don't have to go to some other entity for that. We have that. We are that. We just have to wake up to it. Love and light. See you soon.